And so the thing is that you have to have high standards, but have zero expectations that who you come across is going to meet them. So that means when you're going out dating, and you have your standards now, you know what you want. You can't have this expectation that they're going to meet it. You have to see if they will. See how it goes. Go with the flow to see if they even meet it. That's how you remain detached.
Excuse me, can I please talk to you for a minute?
Hey girlfriends, it's your girl, mindset and intuitive coach, Kindall D, back with the Hey Girlfriend podcast. And today I have an episode to help you with dating if you are currently dating. Now, I proposed this to you all on my Instagram. I did a reel. By the time you hear this, the reel would have been up maybe about a week. But go back and look about a week ago. It was the reel where I was like, I know y'all gonna have a bone to pick with me, but I'm gonna tell you something. Learn to go with the flow. So, I preface with that because I'm like, it's been shunned for so long, going with the flow. Oh no, I'm not doing that and this and that. And I get it. I'm not saying go with the flow as far as go with the flow with someone that doesn't know if they want a relationship or not. Or someone that's unsure of what they want. Or someone that doesn't even want a commitment. Or someone that's up and down, inconsistent. And someone that comes right out and says, I'm going to just go with the flow. I'm not saying that. I'm saying go with the flow. Know what you want. And know that the other person, ideally wants a long-term commitment. And eventually marriage. I say eventually because marriage should not be something you're thinking about with that person if you're still getting to know them. It should not be something that comes up within the first month of meeting them. That, oh, so you want marriage? Maybe they do, maybe you don't. But it's something you can talk about, but it's also something that you should go with the flow with. And what I mean by that, as I'm going to explain throughout this, is that you have to learn someone first. You have to see if they even meet your standards. You have to see if they are even really for you, And it's okay to ask, what their view is on long-term commitment, what their view is on marriage and whatnot. But you still should have zero expectation that this is going to be your husband. And I'm going to explain what I mean by going with the flow, the difference between standards and expectations, why you should have high standards and zero expectations, and how this can help you with your dating life. It helped me with mine, and I had to change my whole mindset around it because I feel like I was going in too emotionally, too emotionally attached already to the outcome of what I really wanted. Like I had a strong desire to be married. And I actually wanted to marry my damn exes. The one I wrote about in Toxic Ex Chronicles John, my book that's been out. If you read it, great. If you haven't, I suggest you do. It's really good. And I'm not just saying it because I wrote it. It is really good. But it's like you're reading a juicy novel or something. It's not like a self-help book. It's not that type. It's something that can take you away and also put you in the mind of what you may have been through as well. A lot of people related to it. But anyway, that's available on Amazon or just I've Been That Girl.net. I think about my own website. But yeah, so I wanted to marry that ex, and I wanted to marry the ex after that, Sebastian, and they weren't shit. And it's because I had this in my mind of what I wanted. And I didn't really care. Well, I did care who it was with, but I didn't care that it didn't come with all the other things that were necessary. And maybe I didn't understand what was necessary to have a successful relationship and marriage. So I had high expectations and no standards. You see, it can't work that way. It can't work in reverse. You can't have all these high expectations of everyone you come across and meet, and highly expecting that they're going to be a one, and highly expecting that you've met your husband, and highly expecting that they're just going to treat you right on their own, and highly expecting that they're going to be trustworthy. And, you know, you can't have all these expectations that they're just going to do right by you. You have to have your high standards for that. You can't have it in reverse. If you have it in reverse, I feel like you are more so emotionally attached to the outcome. And that's where I was going wrong. And that's where I see a lot of us going wrong. You know, we tend to be a little more lax on the standards and more so have the expectations, because it's like you almost want to just rush to get what you want. Like you just really want that man. You really want marriage. You just really want to get that. And so it's like you skip past notating if they even meet your standards or not. You know, you can't find someone that meets all your preferences. Like, oh, he's attractive. Oh, he's tall, or he makes a lot of money, or he has a nice car. Those things are nice. But who is that man at the core? You know, you have to have a standard of how you want to be treated. And if you just take this man that meets all your surface level preferences, and you're like, okay, yep, I like him, he likes me, let's go. And you're not checking for standards, and you just want to marry this person, and you have the expectation that they're going to be your husband, you're going to hurt yourself. You know, expectations hurt you every single time. And I know a lot of my girlies, a lot of my girlfriends were a little confused on, they were like, what's the difference between high standards or having standards and expectations? Like, I thought I was supposed to expect this and expect the best. I was supposed to have expectations. So the difference is that standards are more so for you, and expectations you have no control over. They're more so outwardly, and they're more so about other people and other things in your life. And someone, I think, made a good note that, you know, hey, this is even good for just life in general. What I was talking about, going with the flow and not having these high expectations. She was like, it's good in just life in general to basically just go throughout life going with it, instead of going around expecting everything to go the way that you think it should go. Things are going to go the way that it's meant for them to go. And I'm like, that's right. You know, that's a good point. It is just good to have this general sense of thinking in just life in general. But I find that it really helped me in dating towards the end, because I didn't get this. Like, it's not like I came after my toxic relationships and like, oh, this is how I date. It took me dating and and getting myself hurt, my heart broken with a bunch of expectations I had. Like, y'all, every goddamn man I was meeting that I liked even a little bit, or had a good conversation with just for a little bit, don't let them been fine. I was thinking, oh, this is my husband. This is going to be my husband. Do they know that? They obviously did not. And I was doing it so much, and I was getting hurt every single damn time. And then I slowly began to just stop giving a damn so much. And what I mean by that is that I let go of the expectations. Like, the expectations, I didn't know at the time that that's what I was doing, is letting go of expectations. I just stopped giving a fuck so much. You know, giving a fuck that if I go on this date, that this is not going to be the one or my husband. It's like I stopped looking at it like that and going in so emotionally attached to it, to what I wanted so bad. And I just sat back and realized that, okay, it will happen. It's best that I go in with a clear mindset and clear conscience of what it is I really want. So before I started dating like that, I remember having a talk with God and just basically meditating on the type of man and relationship I really, really wanted. I had been through enough shit I didn't want, so I was at the point in my life to where I knew what it is I wanted. And I'm like, I know I want this, this, and that. He must be this way. He must be that way. You know, I had a whole list, and I was very, very specific. So that was how I created my standards of what I wanted. And I wasn't settling for anything else. Like, I didn't care if he looked good. I went on a lot of dates with guys that I thought were very attractive. And yes, I liked them, but I wasn't about to let myself get got no more, because I'm like, no, you don't meet my standards. Like, yeah, you're attractive, and yes, I like the conversation, but you seem a little inconsistent about dating me. You seem a little... You know, you seem a little wishy-washy. You seem not to be really all in, like you don't want this. And I wasn't forcing anything anymore, because I knew I didn't have to. And so I would just let that fizzle on out and move on to the next. And I remember when I met my now husband, when I met him, I was basically at a point to where I was talking to him another guy. And I remember sending a text to the other guy saying, hey, I don't think we should talk any further, and da-da-da-da-da. I've met someone. This was when I was getting serious with him. We had been on a few dates, and it was moving into something more serious, and this was someone that I wanted to talk to more. For me, I determine when I cut off other guys when I feel like a situation is getting serious. It doesn't have to be in a full-fledged commitment. That's up to you for you to determine. But for me, I like to date one person at a time. Like, seriously date. Like, if you're just kind of like on the surface dating with them, you talk every now and then, it's just like nothing really going on, nothing really moving anywhere, but you kind of like them, and it's like whatever. You either leave them alone or just date around, and stuff starts getting serious. That's why I like to cut off others and just focus on that person, because I feel like things are getting serious. I'm still detached. I'm still not emotionally attached. I'm still detached, but I am more so focused on them logically and how I want to pursue things with them, and that's the main thing. It's like you must date detached. And what I mean by that is having the high standards and the zero expectations. When you move detached in the beginning stages when you're dating, you can think more clearly. You can actually think if this is someone that you want to move forward with. You can actually think, do they meet my standards? Instead of going in with these high-ass expectations of how you want things to go when they may not even meet these standards. And so the thing is that you have to have high standards, but have zero expectations that who you come across is going to meet them. So that means when you're going out dating, and you have your standards now, you know what you want. You can't have this expectation that they're going to meet it. You have to see if they will. See how it goes. Go with the flow to see if they even meet it. That's how you remain detached. And I know you may be thinking, well, that's hard. I really want love, and I'm a lover girl, and I get it. I love romance too. I love love too. I was the same way. I get it. And you can still have that, but you can't let that deter you from logically thinking if this person is for you or not, it can meet your standards. You can't think about that part emotionally, because if you think about that part emotionally, you're going to basically create this idealized version of them in your head of who you want them to be, thus creating the high expectations, because you're creating a person that's probably not even really there, because you're so emotionally attached to the outcome. You're so emotionally attached to finding someone, being with someone, and not being alone anymore, that you can't think straight. I've been there, girl. So I'm not shaming you for it. I'm just highlighting it for you so that you kind of see where maybe you could be going wrong. You may be going in too attached to the outcome. You may be going in too attached to your expectations and have no standards of what it is you really want and need. Maybe you don't even know. I want to pose that to you. Like, it's okay that if you don't know what you want. It's not okay to date when you don't know what you want. It's not okay to, well, let me put it this way. It's okay to date if you don't know what you want, because that's how you figure it out. But it's not okay to continue blindly dating just because you want to have someone, just because you want to be with someone. Unless you just want to keep on getting your heart broke, or unless you just want to keep on being in unfulfilling relationships where you're getting half-assed of what you want. Unless you just want to keep having the same empty relationships that just keep on in the same pattern and the same cycle. Yes, keep doing it. But if you want to move into something long-lasting and real, you must take a beat after each time you date someone that's not it for you, and change your list of standards, learn from it, and move forward. That's how I learned, by actually dating. I'd be actually out there dating, meeting guys, and then seeing things I didn't like, and being like, okay, yep, I know I don't want that shit. I know I want a man that's like this. I know I'm not tolerating that anymore. And so my list grew and grew. And so my standards grew. I had high standards now. Instead of having the low standards and the high expectations, it switched. Because I started doing the work after each connection. Even if it didn't last long, even if it was just us talking for a bit. Even if it was just, just something quick that didn't really lead anywhere or whatnot, and I was disappointed after it ended, whatever. Sometimes I wasn't. Sometimes I was just like, whatever. They weren't shit, and I was able to date and move on. Whatever the case may be. After each time of going through that, each time, not just sometimes, I'm saying each time, I took a beat, changed my standards list, determine what I was going to do next moving forward. And sometimes that may have resulted in me having to take a little break from the dating apps or from just dating in general. Whether it be a week, it was 2 weeks, or a month, I just had to take a beat and regroup and get my mind back right and recalibrate it, so to speak. And then I would add to my list of standards. And it's like I had now become accustomed to how things could go. My expectations slowly started getting lower and lower and lower, and to where it's zero. It's zero expectations. And when I had the zero expectations, that's when the I don't care attitude came in. I had my standards though. I knew what I wanted, but I had low to zero expectations that this date was going to lead to anything. And you may be thinking like, but that doesn't sound right to go in. But this is a stranger. You don't know them. This is a complete stranger. Why would you go in with expectations that they're going to be the woman? They're a complete damn stranger. Think about it. You don't know this person at all. Why would you go in with the idea that you're going to go over and beyond what you're going to do for them, how you're going to treat them, and what you're going to be doing? You don't know them. So you have to go in detached and remind yourself, this is a damn stranger. Even if you, after the first date, you like them. You like what you know about them already. You don't like them as a whole. You like what you know from that first date, what you've learned. You have to keep it logical in the beginning stages so you think straight. I'm not saying for the whole entire relationship or for the whole entire time that you're dating until you're... I'm not saying that. Those first couple of dates, straight logic. Straight trying to see if they're the one. It's none of that, I'm trying to make sure he likes me, I want him to pick me. Nope. None of that. It's detached. And you're going in with the logical mind that I need to determine if they even meet my standards. Keep the expectations in a low. Have none, actually. Have none. Because you don't know. And so it was like, after getting tired of dating, I guess that's kind of what led me to low expectations, to be honest. Because dating and shit, and I was seeing how it was doing, and I was seeing how it was going, and I was just like, I don't give a damn anymore. It's just like, whatever. Like, I still wanted love. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I stopped wanting love. I was just like, I don't care anymore if who it's with or if it works or how it goes. I don't care. I'll go on the dates. I don't have to see this person again if I don't like them. I don't care. I wasn't that fussy about it, so to speak, anymore. I just had this really nonchalant attitude about it. Because I feel like that was really tied to those zero expectations. That's really what happened, is that I became detached from the outcome and detached from everyone being the one, and I just didn't give a damn. And it's like, if they're not, next, I knew there'd be another one coming. I knew I still had my good life. I knew I was enjoying the way my life was going. I was enjoying working on myself. I didn't have every single thing I wanted. It wasn't like I was rich or something or anything like that. I'm not saying I had this plushy lifestyle. I'm saying that I was okay with developing my life on my own, learning on my own, growing on my own, having goals of my own, setting things that I wanted to do for myself. So that's something that I knew that I was okay with doing by myself because I was doing just fine. I hadn't learned how to be by myself, so it wasn't like I was in this dire need to be in a relationship anymore. And when I erased that need, it's like everything changed for me. And so I went in with my husband when I first met him, zero expectations. I remember just not really giving a damn. I remember I used to eat all cutesy on dates like in the past before I met my husband, right? Like when I was dating, I would go on these dates, order the salad, try to eat something that's neat, something that I wouldn't be making a mess while eating, so careful. Careful in my outfit choices, trying to just... I mean, one date I wore like these platform heels, knowing my feet were tired because we were walking around, trying to do like the extra shit, trying to impress them, I was caring too damn much about what a stranger thought of me because I wanted love that bad. And I wasn't even being myself. I was doing the damn most. And it just ruined me every time. And the expectations I had, and knowing that it wasn't going to go there, and they ended things, it was just like rejection. And like, damn. And so, by the time I got to meeting my husband, when I met him, I remember I just did not care. I remember I had hot wings. They were messy, but that's what I wanted. And you know, I was like, yeah, give me the hot wings. Because it was at a place I haven't really never ate at before. So I'm like, yeah, I want hot wings. I didn't want no salad from there. And I don't know what made me order it. I was just like, I don't care anymore. Order hot wings with my little blue cheese. He was all shocked. You like blue cheese? I never met anyone that liked blue cheese. I'm like, yeah. I didn't get all like, ooh, I'm different. I was just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I like blue cheese. Now you know. And I'm just eating my wings. Eating my wings. Didn't care if I made a mess. Had me a big old drink. And was drinking it, talking with him. Just really relaxed being myself. Because it's like, it probably gonna go nowhere. I don't care if it do, if it don't. Whatever. I was going with the flow. And so, I don't know. It's like, and then next thing I know, it flowed into a relationship and flowed into a marriage. I was not expecting it. And that's what happens when you have zero expectations. Like, the unexpected happens. When you have zero expectations, it makes room for what is meant for you to happen. That's something you have to realize, is that when you have all these stacked up expectations of who you want it to be, how you want it to go, how, when, what, where, when it's going to happen for you, when you have all these expectations, you're not going to get what's actually for you, and it limits what's for you, you know? You're limiting yourself without even realizing it, because you're so afraid that you're not going to get something that's for you, so you're trying to control it with all these expectations, and you just holding yourself back, girlfriends. So I challenge you. Drop the expectations. Go in detached dating. Don't think about this being your husband. Don't give a damn about, you know, what he thinks of you. Go in being your full authentic self. And be okay with the outcome. And when I say be okay with the outcome, I mean don't have any expectations about how the outcome will go. Understand that if it doesn't go the way that you think it should, well, no, I'm not going to say that no, because we're not doing expectations. Keep in mind that if it doesn't lead into a relationship when you're dating, or whatever you want doesn't lead to what it is that you were really wanting, that wasn't for you. There's something else. Keep it going. Keep it moving. In order to get to what's for you, you can't stick around with something that's not for you and try to make it be for you with your expectations. You have to let it go. You have to apply the standards in that case and let whatever else doesn't actually fit the standards go. Don't just stop having the standards because you realize they can't meet them, and so now you're switching to all these expectations of what you expect of them, and they're not meeting it, and you're confused, and you're not understanding why it's hurting, and the relationship is so unfulfilling, and why you're so sad all the damn time. It's because you're not sticking to your standards, or either you don't have standards. You're expecting them to be someone that they are just truly not. You see how expectations work? I feel like I've covered like layers of expectations of how it can go. Like going out here expecting what you want, how you want things to go, and how it limits you. How I had zero expectations that the man I went on a date with was going to end up being my husband. I had zero expectations of that happening. I didn't even think it was going to be him. I didn't even think about it being him. You know, not until later on to where I realized, okay, he meets all of my standards, and even some standards I didn't even know that I should have. He created more standards for me. He set the bar high. Like, God forbid it, if we don't work out or whatever happens down the road and I date somebody else, oh, baby, they're going to have to come with it, like, all the way with it, because my standards are at an all-time high now, because I was with someone that met my standards, and they created more higher standards than me and just provided that experience for me to make me realize that I was missing out all along. Because of all these damn expectations. Expecting people to just be this way. And it goes to show also with, you can't expect people to treat you right or expect people to do right by you. It's nice if they do, but when you expect it and you don't get it, not only does it hurt, but sometimes you may stick around trying to make it work. Trying to make the expectations work, you know? And instead of just going with your standards. Like, if you moved more with your standards with people, you would lead them where they're at quicker. Because you're realizing that, okay, I can't expect much out of them, and this is how they are. They're not meeting my standards next. You have to be able to say next. You have to be willing to move to the next. Whatever it is in life. Even dating, outside of dating. You have to be willing to get up from the table when what you're being served is not for you. Instead of sitting there trying to say, well, you know, I kind of do like this. You know, it can kind of work. That's not going to get you to what you want. That's not. You stand somewhere where you're not getting what you really want. It's not going to bring what you want. No matter how much you try to work with it and deal with it and try to doctor it up or fix it up, it's not. It's not. And I believe that that's our expectations making us behave that way. And it could be a lot of other things. Fear of moving on. Fear of finding someone else. Fear of the unknown. Fear of just jumping out there and not knowing what's next for us. Because, you know, there's safety and security in this comfort of knowing what's going to happen and knowing who you're with. But you got to give yourself a chance to get out there and discover more. You have to. You have to give yourself a chance to let what's for you gravitate to you and attract it. You know? So, I want you to make a list of standards that you have so far. Think about your past relationships and what you weren't getting but wanted. Even the last people that you've like talked to or went on dates with and things had to end because you realized that it wasn't going nowhere. Think about those. Think about all your connections with every person you've ever been with. And think about your list of standards and what you want. Think about what you didn't like and what hurt you in those connections. And then besides that, think about, okay, so that means I want this. Like if someone was inconsistent with calling you and reaching out to you, your standard would be that I like daily communication. And that may be a high standard for some, but that's not for you then. You have to stop thinking that what you want is not out there and that you want too much. You just want it from the wrong people. And you got to realize that there are other people that can come up and meet that standard with ease. With ease. I communicated with my husband every day, but it was just by text, him asking, you know, how my day went at work, what do you want to do this weekend, or him telling me some random stuff about what he did today, you know, or sending me pictures of him at work, tired, just little simple things. And we still do that to this day. Like a little communication every day. Even though we live under the same roof, we still do a little communication every day. Whether it's sending different dog videos in the Facebook Messenger and stuff. Like, I don't know why we communicate through Facebook Messenger instead of the text sometimes, but we do. And he opens them and we read them and laugh or this and that. You know, we always do that. And that's how you stay connected. And so if you make that a standard of yours, if you didn't feel that in your previous connections, or you felt like you were asking for too much, or feel like you were too clingy, it's because you were asking the wrong person for those things. So add that to your list of standards of what it is you want. And have the high standards, but remember that not everyone is going to meet those standards, but keep the standards. Lose the expectations, keep the standards. And then move accordingly. Go in detached with everyone, meaning having zero expectations that they're going to meet your standards. You have your standards, you know what you want, but have zero expectations that they're going to meet them. And then when you start, you know, looking and seeing that, okay, this person doesn't seem to match my flow and match what I want, you know, you start realizing that they're a little inconsistent. They're not really doing what they say they're going to do. You start noticing these things. That's when you make your move. So, yeah, you got to go in detached. It's easier to let go and put something down in the beginning when you have been detached because you're trying to see them meet your standards. Now, it's a different story. Of course, if you go in detached, everything going well, then months down the line, things change. That is different. I'm not talking about that here. Like everything was fine until all of a sudden it wasn't and things ended. That happens. That happens. And in that case, you can still detach. If you haven't, you can check out my other podcast episode on here. It's kind of far back. It's called Detach. The Power of Detachment or something like that. You still have to detach. You just would be later on. And I explain how to do that in that. This will be another hour long if I start talking about how to detach and all of that. But I'm saying you can always detach. You can always move forward. I'm not saying that that choice is not going to be painful. I'm not saying that the choice is not going to hurt. I'm not saying that it's going to be the easiest choice. I'm saying you can do it and you must do it if it is for you to get to what it is you want. You have to let go of what you don't want. So, learn to go with the flow. Create those standards if you don't have them. Have high standards and zero expectations. That's all I got for this podcast episode, girlfriends. As you know, I do one-on-one mindset intuitive coaching. You can check me out on appandthatgirl.net and see all the different coaching styles I have to offer. Books available on appandthatgirl.net as well. Everything is there, appandthatgirl.net. Check it out. Also, links to my social media pages, appandthatgirl.net. Everything is there. Look around. It's like a landing page. Everything is there. Read through it. See what you need. appandthatgirl.net. Alright? My Patreon is also located on appandthatgirl.net. on how to get to it. Everything's there. So, until the next podcast episode, girlfriends, peace out.